Hi everybody, happy new season. Welcome to Dalmatinac Park here in Perth's southern suburbs for night series final action between Inglewood United and Perth Soccer Club. Great to have your company with us on a Sunday night here in the West. My name's Tommy Dolman. I'll be calling you through tonight's clash on a perfect March evening for football, a week out from what looks set to be another exciting season for local football in WA. Tonight will mark a third finals meeting between Inglewood and Perth in the past 18 months after two thrilling post-season battles in the 2019 WA. And whilst there are perhaps bigger fish to fry in 2021 for both clubs, the opportunity to continue to build positive pre-season momentum is one not to be wasted. Captains Alex Dunn and Jordan DeLeo with the referees tossing a coin. Your officials tonight, Julian Serra, the main man with the whistle, and he'll be assisted by Josh Manella, Matthew Southern, and Michael Jasinski is the fourth official. In terms of the team news for tonight's game, Perth will play 3 of their 4 new signings from the start tonight. Returning Christian Santich, as well as Cameron Teese and Calvin Whitney, will start the game on the pitch, with Riley Van Deeken a likely face to possibly see some action later in the evening. Inglewood, meanwhile, with 4 of their 5 new signings on the pitch tonight. Ajak Riak, perhaps the headline, one of those last season's heroes for Olympic Kingsway, of course, in their double-winning season, as well as Robert Del Borello, Giovanni Soares, and Andreas Theodosiades, who Perth Soccer Club know very well, of course. Great atmosphere building here in one of WA's great suburban suburbs for the season prelude. Usually a good game, this one. Perth, of course, winning last season's match by 5-0 over Florida Athena. Can they make it back-to-back night series finals, or will Inglewood step up to the mark and build on their great pre-season form and win some silverware for the first time since 2005. Just a few people getting in their seats around us. Linesmen are just having a chat with the goalkeepers at the opposite ends of the ground, and we're just waiting for some final checks to be made. So whilst we wait for that, I'll introduce my co-honcho of the Football West commentary booth. You'll hear him across the Facebook page and YouTube channels this season, commenting on the men's and women's competition. It's a big welcome to Sean Fry. Sean, thanks for joining me tonight.
Always a pleasure to be in the booth alongside you, Tommy. Looking forward to this one. What
are you expecting from tonight's clash?
I'm just expecting some exciting football, to be honest. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these new signings. You already mentioned them. We could dub this the Theodosiades derby now, the one player that's gone from Perth straight to Inglewood, but the other signings they've made, Ajak Riak, you mentioned, is going to be very exciting, but I'm a huge big Cam Teese fan. I can't wait to see how he gets along in the blue or white tonight of Perth SC this season. And yeah, Riley Van Deeken and Christian Santich back home as well at his old club should be good to see.
So these two sides finished in the bottom half of the league in what was a truncated 2020 season due to COVID-19. But make no mistake, Inglewood United and Perth Soccer Club are teams who in years prior to 2020 have been used to competing at the top end of the division. So what better way to lay down a marker in 2021 than to collect the first piece of silverware? Inglewood and Perth Soccer Club. Inglewood in their dark blue kit with the yellow trim, and Perth on the attack in their all-white change kit as Del Borello's retreating under the pressure of DeLeo, and clearance from Alex Dunn is away into touch.
Just an early sign there as well, Tommy, of the link up there between Santich and Teese. Teese winning the throw-in and playing a little 1-2 with the diminutive midfielder, and there he is again.
DeLeo and Teese linking up again. You touch on Cameron Teese. There's Sean, one of the most notable and eye-catching signings
He was just so good for Sorrento last season, wasn't he, Tommy? And no offence to Sorrento, or none meant, certainly, but coming to Perth, the expectations are a little bit different, aren't they? It's a team that want to be pushing for the title, and it's a whole other level of pressure on his shoulders.
Second top scorer in the NPL WA last season, Cameron Teese, with 15 goals. 2 behind eventual winner Danny Hodgson, as Sokol looks to latch on to Ajak. Riak's flick forward. Riak continued his move, and Sokol will gather at the second time of asking. Now Theodosiades with his first touch against his former club. Befobisher. Little tickled pass through for Sokol, who's been in good pre-season form. Returns to Befobisher, who gets the shot away. Blocked by McDonald. And now Del Borello will look to switch in on his non-preferred foot. Riak was jumping for that one. Goalkeeper, I think he claimed that one. And the referee agrees, and the free kick will go the way of Perth.
Yeah, certainly the keeper getting a good 2 hands on that one and earning the foul. Often keepers these days get a very soft run with free kicks, but I think that one was well earned.
Good strong goalkeeping there from Ryan Montgomery. Second full season as Perth's number 1, having joined in mid 2019 from Stirling Lions. McDonald plays ball forward. There's your Goob, Mustafa, and another one of Perth's new signings, Calvin Whitney. Colwell just stumbled on the ball temporarily. Sokol went in to try and win it.
Yeah, spent it before he had it there. Just took his eyes off the ball before he had it under control.
Last touch was off DeLeo, and then on that occasion the last touch was off Tiak Kuel, and for a Perth throw-in, so very much hugging this near touchline at the moment is the football, as Teese tries to wriggle away from his marker. Sancic takes control. Ball may have broken to Jovic, it didn't quite do so. And now Riak will look to try and get Inglewood moving on the counter, but Jovic cuts it out, looks for the feet of Domfay, who turns, and that's good tracking back from Befobisher. He's a real energizer bunny in there, is Anthony Befobisher, full of hard work and hard running. That midfield battle is going to be something to really keep an eye on tonight, Sean, with Anthony Befobisher in there as the flick on comes through from Teese. Domfay will give a willing chase, but how interesting will it be to see the returning Christian Sancic and Calvin Whitney linking up in the centre of midfield for you tonight, just quickly before this corner?
Very exciting, yes. They get ready for their first corner of the night from Corona Corner over there, the famous Corona Corner down here at Dalmatinac Park. And yeah, Christian Sancic, last game I saw him play for Perth was a top 4 cup final a couple of years ago, and he actually ended up winning the Gary Marocchi medal for best of field. He was unbelievable that day. Haven't seen a lot of Whitney myself, but yeah, great to see Sancic back, and be very interesting to see how they link up.
Well, it's Whitney who's taken this corner. It's a low dribbling ball in. Sancic will get on the end of it. He's still got Whitney in support if he wants to use him, but Sancic will instead try and make half a yard for himself. And in hindsight, he possibly should have laid the simple one back to Whitney, but Perth have the throw in nevertheless. Whitney, of course, returning from a spell in the NPL in Victoria as the cross comes in and clearing that one away. It was Giovanni De Freitas, and now Inglewood looks to launch a counter of their own. It'll be Robert Petkov on this left-hand side. Petkov, one-on-one with McDonald, will try and drive into the area, and he'll win a corner off McDonald. Good counter-attacking from Inglewood.
Yeah, wonderful forward as well, Robert Petkov, more of a big, strong hold-up man there, and operating in the role of a left winger. I'm sure he would be quite happy to see that as a corner and let someone else get it in on his head.
Here is Andreas Theodosiades taking the corner. Over 100 appearances in all competitions for Perth. Taken quickly and deflected. Barnett won't keep that in play, and the last touch may have been off him because Josh Manel's flag is up and it's pointing for a goal kick.
Yeah, I think he tried to leave it at the last moment and just brushed off his chest. Be interesting to see from these who the main target man is. Obviously, Domfay and Teese both accomplished in the air. I was very interested to see how they would link up. Positionally, it looks like Teese will be operating predominantly from the left and dropping a little bit deeper. He does like to get involved in the build-up play as well, and Domfay will be the more stay-at-home striker.
McDonald coming forward. Mustafa out wide. Once of the Perth Glory youth setup. Plenty of those players on show tonight. Bojan Radinovic. Colwell. Teese on the turn. Headed away by Del Borello. Nice touch there off Sokol. It'll be a Perth throw. Just one loss between these two teams in the pre-season so far. And that was a game in which Inglewood changed the majority of their team against the Perth Glory in a dead rubber to give some players time that they previously hadn't seen. Of course, won against Armidale on penalties last weekend after a 1-1 draw. Perth, incidentally, won their game 3-2 with a hat-trick from that man, Michael Domfey, who just straight offside for the moment. And already we're just seeing signs of that Teese and Domfey partnership linking up, Sean. They have combined for 7 goals in this night series competition so far. And I did speak to Ramon Falzone during the week, and he said he's seeing it coming together bit by bit, session by session.
Yeah, both lethal players and both very creative as well. One of the things you usually expect when you see a name at the top of a goal-scoring list is a bit of selfishness and a bit of greed, but certainly Teese is a player that loves an assist and loves to get involved and help out his teammates as well.
Riak just tries to dink that one through, but Petkov was battling to stay on side and in the end didn't give pursuit. Ajak Riak, of course. Very big signing for Inglewood this off-season from Olympic Kingsway, as I touched on in the introduction. Helped Olympic Kingsway to the double last season.
Yeah, we were both at that final, and what a performance it was from him, and scored on the night and was influential in that result.
12 goals in 17 games last season for Riak. Burst onto the scene at Bayswater as Teese jinks in. It's a good challenge from the sliding Bafobisha. Del Borello's clearance lands straight at the feet of Santic, who knows this ground very well, of course, Christian Santic. Having returned from a very short spell at the NPL in Victoria prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. Played the remainder of the 2020 season here with the Cockerels and helped them push towards a very respectable finish. They were challenging for the title at one stage, Coburn. Santic, the man we spoke about, pops that one in. In fact, it was Jovic, sorry. Sliding in there, the skipper DeLeo. Sokol was determined to win the ball back after his mistake and then perhaps went in a little bit too strong on DeLeo. No hard feelings though. Free kick to Perth in a pretty good crossing position.
Yeah, super tackle from the skipper there. He was never going to give up the ghost on that occasion, and as soon as he saw that tackle coming, he was more than willing to take the hit to get the free kick. And as you mentioned, dangerous position with those two big target men in the box.
It'll be Whitney's ball in, high, lofted, and it's an easy one for Alex Dunn to take. Quick release was looking for Riak, but too straight and easily eaten up by Radinovic.
Yeah, just too much on that free kick. Yeah, too high and lofted, easy one for a keeper.
It's a better pass from Whitney on that occasion as Teese uses his strength to wriggle away from De Freitas Suarez, and then the aforementioned Whitney hoists that one high and over the trees and into the car park behind the goal to the left-hand side of Dalmatinac Park.
Well, that's frustrating if you're wearing a white shirt. It's wonderful if they fly into the top corner, Tommy, but Perth just starting to turn the screw a little bit and put a bit of pressure on Inglewood, and had Domfey in a good position and a couple of other players getting advanced, and then to just blaze one over the, not just over the goals, but as you mentioned, over the trees.
I'm sure he'll be happy to get that one out of the way.
That's a kind way to put it.
Before the season starts. Sokol doesn't give up the fight here against Colwell. He's assisted, though, by Radinovic, who came across to help out.
Yeah, slippery character. Steve Sokol's got away from a couple, and was a little bit unlucky because the tangle of legs was just after the Perth player Colwell got the touch, and could have almost won a free kick himself on a couple of occasions, but in the end gives one away.
Tremendous crowd in here at Dalmatinac Park tonight, one of the great suburban grounds here in the West. Plenty of people in for this event hosted by Cockburn City. Great to see the NPL fixtures and the finals being shifted across the grounds, obviously up in the northern suburbs, Percy Doyle last week. And perfect night for football here, really. Barely a cloud in the sky and any breeze of note, so no excuse for the players as that ball through will drift all the way to Dunn, and he'll look to get Suarez on the ball. Off-season recruit from Perth as well, brother of Roberto, who played at Armidale last season. As Petkov and DeLeo do battle, a little bit of shirt pulling from both teams, somehow managed to stay and play, and eventually Josh Manella points left for a Perth ball.
Yeah, good physical contest there between Petkov and DeLeo. It's what you want to see. As you mentioned, a couple of times there could have been a free kick picked out, but the referee happy to let him play. More than happy with that.
Bafobisha tries to thread one through for Riak. McDonald cleans up. The bodies flying in all over the shop. It's so-called that emerges. Pass was a little wayward, and in the end that's hoisted up into the air off a couple of deflections. McDonald just says, let's get it up the field, and it may work out because Domfey's latched onto it now. He's on his own for the minute. Little reverse now comes for Teese, who's in the penalty area and just miscues the shot slightly. It was a great piece of defending from Barnett on the recovery.
Oh, fantastic tackle and a fantastic run, and an even more fantastic pass from Domfey to see that little reverse ball for Teese, and in the end on his left foot just couldn't get the power he needed, and as you mentioned, a wonderful tackle.
Just had to bide his time. There did Domfey, 2019 Golden Boot winner. Just to wait for the support, and when it came, Teese was in the area looking real dangerous. Good defending from Barnett, though, to keep pace with the former Sorrento striker. It will be a corner for Perth, though. Hoisted in towards the back post by Whitney, headed away partially, and then Theodosiades completes the clearance. So-called Bafobisha now reacts away here, and he's one-on-one with Colwell. Mustafa's got back to lend a hand. The ball's come across the box. So-call's run onto it. Steve So-call strikes, and Montgomery held firm at his near post and turned it behind for a corner. Great opportunity for Inglewood.
Yeah, brilliant football all round again. Riak on the charge. Incredible ball across for So-call. Just killed it into his path, and the touch was good, and the finish was on target at the near post. Certainly had to be alive to it there, the keeper.
Just looked as though So-call's first touch was probably a little heavier than he liked, and that maybe narrowed the angle and gave him less room for manoeuvre against Montgomery. Promising from Inglewood, though. Promising from both teams. Corner comes in. Barnett's header off the line and hooked behind for a corner. Not sure who it was who made that clearance on the yarn. I think it was Alex Jovic. Ball comes in again from Del Borello. McDonald heads away. Theodosiades will try and drive that back in, but slices it straight up in the air instead, and Domfey says anywhere will do.
Well, you mentioned Alexander Jovic on the line there. If it was, I'm not sure, but it was Alexander Jovic on the line in that incredible game last season up at Joondalup, where we had about 8 minutes of stoppage time and a red card for Jovic, handling it on the line in the eyes of the referee, and in that game knocking Perth out of contention for the top four and for the title, obviously, in last season's adapted fixture list and standings, and Perth will be hoping for a bit better this season.
Closest either team have come so far. Here's Riak looking dangerous again, and he'll get on the end of the header. Ball will break for Theodosiades, and it was blocked by Colwell.
A few chances to clear it there for Perth and not taken.
Former Missouri man on the edge of the area waiting. Just closed down by his former teammate Colwell, though, and now Perth will look to counter. Mustafa's got two ahead of him. One of them's Domfay, the other Teese, and the ball doesn't quite reach the latter.
Well, Barnett's been good so far tonight at the back. You mentioned that sliding tackle before, that power header cleared off the line.
Andreas Oliveira said during the week that games between these two teams are usually pretty good. We spoke about those two finals in 2019. And with the way the chances have gone so far, this is no exception as Teese gets the better of Suarez, goes down. No foul there according to the referee, and Dunn just hoists that up towards halfway. Penkov showing good strength, and now Theodosiades will look for the run of Sokol. Inglewood a 2-on-2 here. Sokol's got Riak at the back post if he can find him. He opts to cut back instead, and then the cross is blocked. Arriving was Theodosiades. And Perth's defence is a little rickety at the moment. They're scrambling, but scrambling pretty well. And now Bafobus is putting the pressure on. Can he keep this alive? He will. Goes to ground. Again, Julian Serra opts to let that one go. Teese's little clip through. Dunn will get there before Domfay, and then the clearance is made out to Del Borello. There's a cracking pace to this one, Sean.
Yeah, a few exciting exchanges there, and just not sure Domfay really read that as quickly as he could have. He eventually got on his bike, but left it a little bit late. The ball was there for him to be won, and just moments earlier, Sokol just needed to be a little bit more decisive in that break, but Riak stuck with his centre-half defender and it didn't really give him too much of an option.
Here's Theodosiades again starting to get involved in the game. The shot was deflected, or blocked, rather. It will break perfectly for Del Borello, who fancies a strike. Sokol did stay onside, ball into the area, and that'll run through all the way to Jovic, who looks for the early release once more. Perth trying to get Domfay and Teese away early, but Inglewood are really alert to it, and in particular Dunn starting position. Can't quite see it on your picture, but he's very much alert to the danger and sitting on the edge of his 18-yard box for the moment.
Well, he needs to be, Tommy, because Inglewood are playing a very, very high line when they go forward, and a few shouts for offside there from Teese, but he was 5 yards inside his own half. It was certainly onside. If the pass was a little bit better, they may have found it, but as you mentioned, Dunn's positioning makes that very difficult to find that gap.
Well, telling these teams that the night series final doesn't mean anything. The way we've seen both of these sides approach the game so far, it's clear that winning definitely means something, and DeLeo's trying to make something happen forward on this left-hand side. Loves to get forward from full-back, does the Missouri skipper. Scored the second goal in last season's night series final, of course, against Floreat, that 5-0 win. And his cross is met by Domfay, but that's easy for Dunn to gather.
Well, perhaps Domfay could have left the ball for Mustafa there in a better position, but perhaps didn't get the shout. And you mentioned how much this competition means, Tommy. I think it's one of those where, you know, maybe up to the quarterfinal, as you say, we're just trying out our system, we're trying new players, we're adapting things, but once you get to the semis and certainly the final, geez, these boys want to get their hands on a trophy, don't they? Start the season off right.
There's plenty for both of these teams to play for tonight. Perth, of course, lost that grand final last year by 4-0 against Floreat at Dorrien Gardens. Ramon Falzone saying during the week that one really hurt, and what better way to right that wrong by winning a piece of silverware promptly early into 2021 to well and truly put it behind you. Inglewood, on the other hand, without silverware since 2005, a 3-0 win over Swan IC in the night series competition then. Goals that day were scored by Jason Colley, Dean Applegren and Rory Moutet.
Geez, you got a good memory, Tommy.
Can't claim to remember that entirely, Sean. Clipped through by Del Borello here. Sokol will try and make it happen. Converged upon by two Perth defenders and winning another corner. Despite that drought that Inglewood are looking to try and possibly break tonight, they have had a couple of close calls in recent years. We spoke about those finals. They were competing towards the top end of the NPL WA in those seasons when Bayswater were really dominant. What can they do from this dead ball? It'll be Del Borello once again towards the back post. Barnett was leaping again. He's the one who's come closest so far tonight. Now Mustafa's got zero support for the time being. That is until Whitney arrives, and then with the pass close to going out for a throw, his scoop ball was too far for the chasing Domfay.
And that's really well set up by Inglewood. Perth not offering too many men forward on the counter-attack, but the way they sent one forward to press Domfay initially, and then one drop back to cover, and again the keeper playing in that sweeper role, defending really well. Not too many Perth counter-attacks that I can really think of in this first half.
Yeah, Perth's best moments so far, that little reverse ball from Domfay, which found Teese, just slightly lost his footing en route to goal, but it's been Inglewood who've definitely posed the bigger problems so far, and here they come again. They've got four forward here. Petkov's got Theodosiades in support wide left. Three were ahead of him, but he and Riak weren't quite on the same wavelength on this occasion.
Riak bending his back there to try and stay on side. I'm not sure if he managed it. I think the flag might have gone up if the pass did find him.
So Inglewood United 0, Perth Soccer Club 0. Don't let the score fool you. There's been chances at both ends so far. Earlier today, third and fourth place playoff in the night series competition. Armidale versus ECU Joondalup. ECU Joondalup with a 4-1 win against the Army. Former Glory hitman Chris Harold scoring a hat-trick.
The current champions, of course, after last season's heroics. I don't think anyone saw that coming. They were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was a well-deserved title in the end from ECU, led by the firepower of Danny Hodgson, as Radinovic goes to ground under the challenge from Riak and wins a free kick in the corner.
And how are those afterburners from Ajak Riak there? When he wants to turn it on and go past the player, very few that can stop him. When his partner will be very thankful for Radinovic coming around on the cover there.
Both of these teams started the 2020 NPL WA competition fairly slowly. Inglewood just one win in their first 6. Perth winless in their first 4. And neither of them really truly recovered, as Perth made a late rally and fell just short of finishing in the top half of a revised format. They did go on to make that grand final, of course, against Florida Athena.
Jeez, that was silky from Santich there. Just you get stuck in these positions where you don't see a way out, and somehow he drops the shoulder and finds a bit of space where there doesn't seem to be any.
Really classy player is the diminutive midfielder. Here's another man with a bit of flair, Mustafa, pulling back for Jovic. Chipped corner just puts the frighteners in, done for a moment, but he's got that covered.
I wonder if Christian ever gets tired of being called diminutive. So I think I've used it 3 times a game with him, Tommy, and you've gone to the well again there. Have to get our thesauruses out.
Very skillful player as well is Christian Santich. That real low sensor of gravity. Just knows how to find that half a yard of space in those tight areas. Often plays the right pass as well. Befobisha. Pass through here, looking for the pacey Riak. Pull back. Petkov was lurking, but It was well cut out by Radinovic, and then Jovic. In fact, it was Whitney who spun away from trouble. Mustafa returns the pass for Whitney. He's got Teese to his left. DeLeo's in support wider. Instead, it goes back for Teese. Now the ball runs for DeLeo. Sliding in was Del Borello, and then Suarez cleared that one.
Oh, crucial intervention there from Del Borello, and Radinovic is reading the game well tonight. Another crucial intervention just moments ago.
Teese skipping past Suarez. Cross looks really good here. Dunn has to be alert and off his line, and that's really good, strong goalkeeping from Alex Dunn.
Yeah, super cross on the left there from one big striker to the other. And fantastic goalkeeping there, strong. Exactly what you want as a centre-back or as a defender, your goalkeeper to come out and win those balls.
Sancic went to ground. Referee thought about blowing his whistle. Teese instead had the drive, and down goes Dunn to scramble that one away.
Still down.
Yes, Sancic is still down, and now the ball will go out. Went down under the initial challenge. Referee did think about blowing his whistle, but with the ball at Teese's feet, allowed the game to continue, and both teams will take the moment to pause after what's been a pretty energetic opening half so far.
Well, Sancic so agile and deft that often you think he's going to get crunched and manages to just roll out of it or duck under it, but on that occasion he did cop one, and that's the problem with being that size. If you do cop one, it's going to hurt, and he looks in a lot of trouble.
Andreas Oliveira just giving a message there to Robert Petkov. Ramon Falzone doing similar things.
Well, the hope is he's just had the stuffing knocked out of him, as they say. Hopefully just a bit of wind. Certainly moving in a sense that doesn't indicate any kind of serious injury or broken bone or pulled muscle. Hopefully he'll be okay to continue. He looks okay.
Yeah, relief to see Christian Sancic back on his feet, although only temporarily, as he looks to be just a little bit winded, if anything, from that earlier challenge. I'm not 100% sure as to whether it's anything more serious than that. Of course, last weekend, Perth lost Nicolo Sabatini to what looked like a serious injury. Best wishes obviously go to him. As DeLeo returns the throw back to Dunn, and the game resumes once more. Perth still currently down 2-10 at the moment, while Sancic receives a little bit of treatment. Petkov tries to help that one on. Colwell clears off the side of Barnett's head and out for a throw. Sancic now back on the pitch, and numbers are all square again.
Yeah, a bit of a miscue there from Barnett. Had a lot of time and a few teammates around him. Offered a hand of apology, and Sancic back out running freely. Be interesting to see how much, if at all, they do target him now when he has the ball. Very dangerous strategy with how quickly he can shift the ball to one side and go past you if you do go in for that big tackle.
Teese. Sancic. Teese again. Pass off Riak. Now Bafobisha wants to play wide for Steve Sokol. He does. 2 goals in pre-season for Steve Sokol so far. There's a man who scored 4 this pre-season in Riak, and in the end the free kick will go Inglewood's way for what looked to be a late challenge. I did miss that as I was tracking the ball.
Well, Barnett just stepped up when he saw the ball was there to be won and was happy to just, I think, thump it away. And as he did, Sancic came flying through. I don't think there was any contact, but certainly that's enough these days to be a foul.
Quickly taken for Bafobisha. Now so-called Del Borello forward on the overlap. Colwell looks for Whitney to try and help him out. Whitney tries to spin away from his opponent and in the end gets a shirt pull. I think Calvin Whitney wanted to continue on with that, but...
Yeah, very, very frustrated there that the referee didn't allow play to continue, and I think made that known.
Really nice, tidy midfield player is Calvin Whitney. Once of Coburn and the Glory. And really sort of broke through during his time with Florida Athena before going to the NPL in Victoria with the Melbourne Knights. Theodosiades, plenty of room to drive into. Theodosiades and spilled in the end. It might yet break for Petkov. Robert Petkov turns, strikes and scores. Inglewood hit the lead here in Coburn. And you've got to say on the balance of chances, they deserve it so far. Inglewood 1, Perth 0.
Well, Ryan Montgomery's looking around for a hole to swallow him up right now. It was a good drive initially from Theodosiades. He got down well, got two hands on it, and then just spilled it out and couldn't recover the fumble. And Johnny on the spot, Robbie Petkov, makes it 1-0.
Inglewood United goal scored by number 9, Robert Petkov.
Fourth goal of the 2021 night series for Robert Petkov. And Inglewood do break through here at Dalmatinac Park. They've looked ever so dangerous on the counter-attack, and once again Theodosiades was just allowed to travel with the ball unchallenged and uncontested.
Well, you mentioned the midfield battle would be important at the start of the game, Tommy, and it was a clear case of Theodosiades just dropping deep and a vacant midfield from Perth.
Perth will look to try and respond here through Mustafa. Cleared out though for a throw-in by Alex Ashida Livings. That double pivot of Tiat Kuel and Anthony Bafobisha proving really effective so far, and that's giving Theodosiades license to roam in that number 10 role, and we've seen it quite often in this first half, how he's just got in between those midfield lines, and often he's been unchallenged by the Azzurri and their midfielders. Radinovic looks forward for Whitney, who tries to breeze past Bafobisha, who gets a foot in once more. Sokol, Del Borello. Back for Alex Dunn, who's under pressure. Inglewood have got to try and play their way out of trouble here. It's Suarez, who's under pressure from Donfay, twisting, turning, does really well to find Del Borello.
Oh, that's lovely football.
And now Sokol, spot on, Sean. Beautiful football from Inglewood.
They certainly want to play, don't they?
I think a really impressive half so far, and Sokol's got the bit between his teeth once more on this right-hand side, and it'll be an Inglewood throw once more. Pressure and the football has been really good from United so far. Sokol goes to ground, doesn't get the free kick. DeLeo will instead look to try and get things moving quickly. Bafobisha darts forward. Radinovic was there in support to tidy up. Kuel will try and put some pressure on Jovic, but Perth on this occasion play their way out pretty well. In terms of Robert Petkov, scorer of the opening goal so far, We know he's got plenty of talent about him. Rather frustrating 2020 campaign, though. Just 5 games in the first phase of the competition last year. 9 in total, just the 1 goal. His previous seasons at Floreat and Stirling will tell you that he's got plenty of goals in his locker. Top scorer at Athena with 10 in 2019.
Inglewood bench furious there that play wasn't stopped for the ball going out. The linesman, as always, has the perfect view of that. A couple of players stopped and certainly didn't play to the whistle.
Shouts for handball and given against Riak. Inglewood United 1, Perth Soccer Club 0. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Tommy Dolman and Sean Fry with you on the call tonight. Earlier tonight, ECU 4, Armidale 1 in the 3rd place game.
Well, interesting, Domfay and Teese have switched sides here, at least momentarily. Domfay almost acting as an auxiliary left winger.
And Nick McDonald right back as well, trying to get forward and support.
There's certainly a bit of a change of shape, perhaps.
Yeah, we're usually more accustomed to seeing McDonald. Essentially, there he is. And the flick on here will land at the feet of Theodosiades, who's running at Colwell once more. He's isolated for the time being. Now the support starts to arrive.
He's having a good game against his old side, Theodosiades.
Been very influential so far. Del Borello's ball in. Colwell throws ahead at it. Gets it as far as he can. Shouts for handball against Coel. It looked it from here. Referee lets play continue. Now Perth have got numbers forward here if they can move it quickly. Domfay releases Mustafa, but Barnett's got his body in between ball and opponent and should see that out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it looks as though perhaps Domfay, not an auxiliary left winger, actually a left winger for the remainder of this first half.
It's an interesting switch that you've picked up on there from Ramon Falzone. Sixth season as the Azuri coach for Falzone, back-to-back league and top 4 doubles in 2018 and 2019. Winner of the Coach of the Year award in both of those campaigns. He'll be looking to ensure Perth are back competing towards the top of the league. DeLeo, Domfay, just in front of the Inglewood bench. It's Sokol who emerges on top.
No left back.
Yeah, DeLeo's out of position for the moment. Sokol will look to try and capitalise on it, although Radinovic has come across to cover his skipper, and Santic will come away with the ball. Domfay wasn't expecting the pass, though, and Coel steps in. He's been very good in that role with Bafobisha, as we've touched on in the first half. Ball just gets away from Sokol, and Perth will have a goal kick.
Just everything a little haphazard at the moment for Perth, and players not knowing where each other are going, and Santic and Domfay on that occasion just on the completely different hymn sheet on that occasion there.
We've seen Teese come out to this left-hand side now, and Domfay going back through the middle, so it'll be interesting to see how that shape continues to develop for the remainder of the half.
Well, it looks like there's a clear attempt to try and stretch the pitch horizontally, get that back 4 out near the touchline, and use the ability of Teese and Domfay in one-on-one situations to perhaps try and beat them, but on that occasion, his feet not doing what they wanted.
Both these teams pretty evenly matched in the NPL WA era. 19 games since the competition became the NPLWA back in 2014. Perth with the 9 wins, Inglewood 7. 3 draws in between. Won't be a draw tonight, of course. This game will go straight to penalties, I believe. Should the score stay level at full time after 90 minutes. No extra time with it being the pre-season competition, as Mustafa is helped off the pitch by the physio. Fourth official, Michael Jasinski, will put his board up for first half stoppage time in a moment as we get towards the dying embers of this first 45 minutes.
Should have a healthy chunk of stoppage time with the couple of injury breaks we've had.
Well, it looks as though Perth are making a change here just beneath us. Yagoob Mustafa's come off, and he doesn't look as though he's coming back on. It'll be Alex Silla, fullback, who enters the field, scorer of that winning goal, of course, in the 90th minute against Inglewood at Perth Plasterboard Stadium back in the NPLWA final in 2019.
Mustafa, replaced by number 2, Alex Silla.
Well, it didn't look like too serious of an injury there, the way Mustafa came off, but perhaps a precautionary substitution.
Bafobisha. Suarez. Riak. Sheeta Livings. Turned over. Silla, first touch of the game. Riak will emerge with possession though. And now Petkov. Inglewood looking to build up the play here. Bafobisha wriggles away from Teese. Doesn't get away from Santic though. And now Teese will try and get away here. He's got Domfey ahead of him, but the pass was too narrow, and that'll run through comfortably for Don.
Well, cutting a very frustrated figure, the Perth number 9 at the moment, Cam Teese. He took on a couple there in midfield and very frustrated with the referee that he didn't get a free kick for one of those little tugs on the shirt, but him and Domfey just never looked on the same page there.
Won the Goalkeeper of the Year award, Alex Dunn, in the past 3 seasons. Incidentally, he's had to share them all, once with Luke Radonich of Coburn last season, and the 2 years prior it was Jason Saudaris. Very experienced and reliable stopper is the United custodian. As the cross comes into the area, Barnett will chest that down and then launch that one away as far as possible. Petkov and Caldwell have a little coming together. Nothing too sinister about it. And then Petkov goes sliding in to win the ball back. Coming in to the tackle was Suarez. Now Teese, if he can keep it alive, has a chance to put the ball into the area, but he can't do so.
Yeah, brilliant tackle there from Suarez after a tetchy few seconds and a couple of players flying in a little recklessly. Things just spicing up a little before half-time.
Three minutes of stoppage time in the first half.
There will be a minimum of 3 minutes stoppage time in the first half. 3 minutes.
Of course, in part due to those stoppages, where Christian Santic and Yagoob Mustafa were down on the deck. What can Inglewood do in the seconds leading up to half-time?
A few good hard tackles there.
United determined to hold on to this 1-goal lead that they currently have. Been a very lively first half though, Sean. How have you seen it and who's edged it in your opinion?
Oh, I think you'd be a brave man to say Inglewood don't deserve the lead after this showing in the first half. I think Perth have looked a little disjointed. That midfield three of Jovic, Santic and Whitney just not quite working and faltering badly on the goal. And obviously, as we've mentioned a few times, it is still pre-season, plenty of time for them to click into full gear. But they'll need to show a little bit better. They are showing a bit of fight now, but Inglewood giving as good as they get at this stage, holding out well.
Yeah, and they've really matched Perth well in those crucial areas that we spoke about earlier, both at the back and in midfield. This nearly runs through for Domfay over the head of Barnett and Suarez. A little miscommunication there at the back. Now Petkov's all on his own here. He's got to wait for the support. Now it arrives in the form of Riak.
And that's always the danger if you're Inglewood United, that you've got Teese and Domfay players that they only need one chance and both capable of scoring the remarkable goal and that flash of brilliance that sometimes you need when you're not playing at your best. So they're going to have to be on it for the entirety of the second 45, certainly, if they're going to hold on to this lead.
Whitney.
There it is again, Tommy, just Santic and Whitney just not quite knowing what each other's going to do. And that'll come with time as well. They're both fantastic players. I'm sure towards the end of the season you'll see a fantastic midfield. They're all very talented players, but just not quite clicking tonight.
Yeah, the class does speak for itself. I'm sure Roman Fozone would like to see that understanding be a little bit more fluid in the second half, as Riak's fouled and first yellow card of the night goes to Perth.
I think Santic was it, coming in late there. Usually when you hear the referee blow the whistle so vociferously, you see the yellow card come out immediately following it, just as we did there.
Launched in by Theodosiadis towards Riak. Headed away. Sokol tries to get a toe on it. Does pretty well in the end to get it under control, and then looks inside for Petkov. Return pass for Sokol, who's through on goal, and he pokes straight at Montgomery. A big chance on the stroke of half-time for Inglewood to double their lead, but they'll have to be satisfied with just the one goal in that first half, and it's hard to believe that on the balance of first half chances they don't deserve it.
Well, brilliant turn right at the end there from Sokol, and he's fuming that a penalty hasn't been given. He got his shot away in the end, and so often when, as a forward, you do get your shot away, you don't get the decision.
Inglewood players converged on the referee. Nothing doing, though. That is half-time officially. Robert Petkov's goal, the difference between the two sides so far. There's been chances at both ends. Sokol through on goal, blocked by Montgomery at the near post. Perth's best chance coming when Cameron Teese was in on goal, slipped slightly and Barnett had to clear. But at the break, it's Inglewood who hold the advantage by a goal to nil. We'll be back with the second half shortly. Welcome back to Dalmatinac Park for the second half of this NPL WA Night Series final between Inglewood United and Perth Soccer Club. Score at half-time, 1-0 to Inglewood United. Goal scored by Robert Petkov. A turn and strike. And a firing into the back of the net after a fumble from Ryan Montgomery from Andreas Theodosiades' shot. Pretty hard to argue that Inglewood didn't deserve that half-time lead on the balance of chances. Perth will want to find their stride again and try and win that midfield battle, Sean. What else do you see as the key to this second half if Perth are to get back into this? We'll just come back to you once Whitney's cross is charged down by Sheeta Livingston, put behind for a corner.
You know, I think it's just finding that chemistry. As I said in the first half, it'll come as the season goes on. They've got a lot of talent, and hard to argue that they haven't made the best transfers in the off-season with the quality of players coming in, but it does take a while to bed in, and they are just going to have to get on the same page.
Whitney's outswinger, two hands went up in the air. It's headed away by Barnett. Volleyed first time by Santic. That could have gone anywhere. It's still bobbling around in there, and in the end, Dunn comes off his line, gathers, and just relieves a little bit of that pressure.
Gee, Sokol screaming for it out on the right wing, and Dunn just happy to slow it down. I think the other thing for Perth is until things do start to mesh and until they really do get a bit of a feel for where each other's going to be, then they're going to have to really work. So the work rate until things start clicking is probably going to be the most important thing.
Apologies if I am repeating myself, but just a reminder that no changes for either team at half-time. There was a change late in the first half. Alex Siller coming on for Yagub Mustafa. Inglewood lining up as they started as Theodosiades tries to thread that through for Riak, but Montgomery gathers with ease.
Yeah, real shame for Ryan to have that blunder in the first half. Usually very reliable between the sticks. Be certainly hoping to atone for that at some point in this second half.
Looks as though Alex Siller is taking Yagub Mustafa's place on this right wing, so a little higher than the fullback position we're used to seeing him in. Cameron Teese on the ball now. Did start the half on the left-hand side. Domfey through the middle.
Just dropping very deep there, isn't he?
He may get on the end of
number
this.
9.
Bafobisha pokes away. Now Theodosiades. Sokol's got plenty of room to run in here. DeLeo is tagging him back. Radinovic comes across to help and commits the foul on Sokol. Wide out on the pitch, and that'll give a chance to the centre-halves to come forward.
Just really looking a handful on those counter-attacks, Inglewood, with Sokol and Riak with that pace and agility, and Petkov obviously the ability to be that hold-up man or just be the man in the right spot as he was for the goal in the first half. Barnett makes his way forward as well for this set piece.
Mark Barnett untracked at the back post so far.
I was just going to say that, no one marking him.
One of 5 Inglewood players in the penalty area at the moment. Sokol and Bafobisha on the edge of it. It'll come to Bafobisha, who tries to whip a shot on goal, and Montgomery was seeing that one over from a long way out.
Well, everyone expecting that ball to the back post to Petkov and Barnett, and Inglewood with one off the training pitch there. The slide rule pass for Bafobisha, who effort on goal wasn't a mile away.
2 of them on the edge of the area, just sitting spare. Unpunished on that occasion, though. As the ball slips under Santic's feet, but Jovic was caught slightly late by his former teammate Theodosiades, and the two just exchange a little word or two.
Yeah, very fortunate there, Perth, because Santic had spent it before he had it, and the ball had gone under his foot, and Inglewood would have been set to counter again.
Midfield player once of Inglewood, Alex Jovic. 2 goals last year, virtually an ever-present in that midfield. Probably best known for his contribution in that NPL final series where Perth went to Victoria and defeated Heidelberg United by 3-2. Thrilling run in that 2019 season. They were defeated by Wollongong Wolves in the semi-final, though, by 2-0.
Just so strong and hard to move off the ball there, Petkov, but eventually they did get him off. But immediately win the ball back. They're really playing a game here, Inglewood United.
Good defending there by DeLeo to get to the ball first as it was hanging over the head of Sokol. Perth will try and play their way out, but Whitney looks up and all he can see is Inglewood bodies. Frobisher and Kuel screening really well once more. Now Perth can try and penetrate through DeLeo, who's got Teese, and Teese will try and cross. The last touch was off. Former
Teese, it just bounced straight back off him. It's just nothing's going right for them at the moment. It's one of those games where if your touch isn't quite right and things aren't quite coming off, all those balls seem to bounce back off you when you make those crosses and go out for a goal kick. Promising play from Perth.
A good initial block from Giovanni Suarez, though. Youngster who mainly played in the under-20s for Perth last season. Did come off the bench in a game I did, though, down at Rockingham. 4-2 win that afternoon.
How would you like the
Misjudging that one there, Sokol.
Whitney. Jovic. Nick McDonald. Silla. Santic. Better football from Perth here. Down this right-hand side, exchanging the passes. Santic tries to help that on around the corner for Silla, and possession turned over.
I was just going to say that as you did, Tommy, that just looking a little bit better in midfield.
Intensity's definitely picked up a little bit, I agree, but Inglewood are still looking dangerous on the counter as they have done all night, and here's a chance for them to exploit Perth's defence again as Theodosiades comes inside. He's got Sokol in plenty of space on the edge of the area, but gets under that one too much, and Montgomery will watch that one over pretty harmlessly, but better from Inglewood.
Just saw Calvin Whitney thump one over the trees in the first half and thought he might have a go himself there, Sokol.
Both sets of players still possibly finding their radars. No complaints at all about the intensity, though, as far as that's concerned. Sheeta Livings' throw. Here's the goal scorer, Petkov, trying to dig out across. He does really well to dig it out to Sokol. And now Theodosiades. Sokol's still wide. Time to put the cross in. It's deep towards the back post, and Colwell had Petkov waiting behind him and couldn't do anything other than put it behind for a corner.
Yeah, just exchanging their usual roles there, Petkov and Sokol. Petkov doing well to beat a man and get to the byline and stand a ball up to the back post. Sokol doing really well to get his head on it, backpedaling and get it back into a dangerous area. Just working really hard to keep the ball and keep possession and keep Inglewood in a dangerous attacking position. Here's a corner.
Here it comes from Theodosiades at the near post. It looped up and nearly landed at the feet of anyone, but Frobisher's waiting. Great save, Montgomery. Riak behind for a corner. Ajak Riak.
Well, I didn't see what happened on the follow-up,
Saw
but
the
that
open
is
goal.
The save of the season so far. I know we're only pre-season, Tommy, but that was unbelievable from Alex Dunn.
Yeah, top save from Perth's goalkeeper there, Montgomery. Real good reactions there as Frobisher's shot came through a sea of bodies. Corner from the other side. It's Theodosiades' ball in. Silla heads away. Possession retrieved by Inglewood. Dunn will look wide for Del Borello. Off-season signing from Balcatta Soccer Club.
Sorry, Montgomery, of course it was, Tommy, making that save. Looked at the wrong goalkeeper there on the sheet. Mentioned he would want to atone for that mistake in the first half, and it's gone a long way towards doing it there.
Dunn may well be called into action shortly, but that was a great challenge once again from Frobisher, and he takes a little bit of an issue with that late challenge, and it's a straight red. Perth shown a straight red, and Julian Serra's got to get this one under control.
Well, it's on the wrong corner of the pitch for us to be able to have too good of a look at it, Tommy, but certainly the way the Inglewood players reacted, they thought it was an awful tackle.
So there's been plenty of intensity about this game so far tonight. A second red card has been dished out. Red? So 2 red cards have been shown. We'll confirm as they come off the pitch now who they are, or who they have been shown to.
Oh, I mentioned at the end of the first half, things were simmering a little bit and looking like they had the potential to boil over.
And now a yellow card's been dished out to Ashita Livings, I believe.
There's certainly so 2 red cards waved.
So we're still waiting to see who these cards have been shown to. One of them's for Cameron Teese, who looks to be making his way towards the dressing room. And maybe that was just 1 red card shown twice to Cameron Teese.
Well,
because I've not seen any other player make way.
Perhaps it was just a rebrandishing of the card. It's huge disappointment for Perth and for Teese.
So the initial challenge was from Teese on Frobisher, I assume, and then from the spot fire that happened after that, Alex Ashita Livings went into the book. And I think that's as tidy as we can possibly give it to you at the moment. One thing that is for sure, though, is Perth are down to 10. And trailing by a goal, it makes their task against Inglewood United even harder. Ramon Falzone stood on the bench there with his hands on his hips. What does he do now? It looks as though Teese's place on the wide left has been vacated for the moment. Santic gets away from the challenge of Del Borello. A little bit of an edge to this one at the moment. Santic runs into Suarez and wins the free kick.
Brilliant bit of footwork there from the young man. Just a few step overs and shifting the ball away. Too quick for Del Borello, certainly. And this may be as good a chance as Perth will get in this second half now, down to 10 men. And Falzone just barking out the orders.
So everyone's forward except for Kieran Colwell.
Just receiving those instructions there on the touchline.
So Kieran Colwell and Alex Frobisher back. The free kick comes in. It's just over Dunn's bar. Shot was taken on by Santic.
Well, they're going to have to make the most of those opportunities because the way Inglewood are playing, and now with an extra man, you'd think that good chances are going to be few and far between for the Azzurri.
And as they push forward, trying to find that equaliser, that may leave spaces for Inglewood to try and expose. Perth come back with the ball, though. Colwell. Whitney. DeLeo looks as though he's pressed a little higher up the field into that left-hand channel. If there's a man with a motor to attack and defend, it's definitely the skipper. Silla retreats back to McDonald. Ball dinked in. Barnett heads away. A tower of strength at the back so far for Inglewood tonight. Calvin Whitney. Pass cut out by Riak. Pokes forward now for Petkov. Inglewood of 2-on-2 here, unless Whitney can get back. Petkov's ball was threaded through it, hit the heels of the defender. Sokol will now run on goal, twist, turn, and it was a great piece of recovery from Colwell, and Sokol went back in desperation to try and win the ball back, but Montgomery gathered on that occasion.
So they were lucky really there, Inglewood. It was a poor ball forward for Sokol, and as you mentioned, just deflecting off the defender there as he went to ground. Fell right in his path and could have just about put this game to bed there.
And we saw a great piece of recovery defence from Mark Barnett in the first half. There was an excellent piece of defending there as well to deny what may well have been a second goal for United. Perth players warming up behind the goal as Domfay gets into the area. Bafobisha screening comes across. That's great. Midfield tracking back from Anthony Bafobisha.
Yeah, Barnett owes Bafobisha a drink there, I reckon, after the game, because he completely misjudged that ball as it came in. And just like that, you can throw away that one-goal lead. Thankfully, he had his defensive midfielder tracking back to make well, not make the tackle, but get fouled.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want. You want those players plugging those holes. As Julian Serra gives Alex Dunn the hurry up. Perth just surging off the back of being a player down at the moment. Can they sustain it and drag themselves back into the game? It's turned over though. Kuel, Sokol, Petkov, tickled through. Riak just went a little early. Flag went up. I think Steve Sokol may have been onside, but the ball ran into the path of Riak instead, and the former Kingsway and Bayswater youngster just overrode that. Suarez, Sokol. Nice bit of footwork there from Calvin Whitney to spin Perth out of a corner, and here he is on the ball again. Very talented player, Whitney. Plenty of touches on the ball so far, but maybe perhaps not quite the influence that we've going to expect from him as the season wears on. Plenty of time for that to be figured out, though, as Jovic tries to find DeLeo. Turned over once more to Kuel.
Well, it looks like Christian Santic will be spending a bit more time on the shoulder, a little bit further forward, and in a game where Inglewood already controlling the middle of the park, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Kuel's ball through is a cracker for Ajak. Briak, who's in the area, and it's blocked. It may yet break back for the forward, though. Delbrello's up in support. Cross comes in, flicked away by Radinovic. Only as far as Petkov, who wants that right foot, but McDonald stood tall, got knees on it, and sliding in a sheet of livings. Now the release forward. Barnett had to get the touch in there and did really well with Domfay lurking in behind.
Oh, so very nearly a game-splitting pass there from Santic. Just didn't quite have the legs on it to get around the big Inglewood number 17.
That's what he's capable of doing. Christian Santic. Sokol. Plenty of room. Sliding in. It's a good challenge there. Over on that far side. Plenty of space out wide for Perth, though. McDonald's got to check back. Andreas Oliveira yet to turn to his bench yet. Perth have just made the one change with Alex Silla coming on for Yagub Mustafa. But they are down to 10 men after a straight red card for Cameron Teese. As Dunn comes off his line and gathers safely.
Yeah, good communication there between goalkeeper and defender. Just looked a little hairy for a moment if they both weren't reading the same book, but turned out they were.
DeLeo. Ball ricocheted off Santage. It eventually came back to the midfielder. Now the pass is through for Silla. Good save by Don. May yet come back for Domfay, and Barnett just hooks that away.
Well,
And
I gave
out for a
Alex
throw.
Dunn all the credit before for Ryan Montgomery's wonderful save. When I got the names muddled up, that time it was Dunn coming up huge. Keeping the score. 1-0 Inglewood.
Shades of 2019 there with Alex Silla on the overlap and getting in behind Inglewood's defence. As Inglewood now do turn to the bench the first time, and it's Andreas Theodosiades who comes off, and taking his place will be Jason Barrera. Barrera, a player who's been one of the more long-serving ones for Inglewood United.
Substitution leaving the pitch, number 18, Andres Theodosiades.
Barrera breaking a goal drought of nearly 2 years against Rockingham last year, and has virtually played every game since joining the club in 2016. Just the 1 second phase app though. And he'll have some minutes to provide a little bit of experience at the back end of this second half. A second half here at Dalmatinac Park in front of a great crowd at the home ground of Coburn City. Inglewood United 1, Perth Soccer Club 0. Robert Petkov with a 32nd minute goal. That's the difference so far. Perth down to 10 men after the straight red card of Cameron Teese. We're live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook page tonight. As Riak looks for Petkov. Sliding in there, desperately to win the ball was Jovic, who then went back in aggressively. But Inglewood retain possession for the time being. Del Borello, Sokol, Barrera. To his left is Coel. He checks right instead and uses Del Borello wide right once more.
Good fight there again from Robert Petkov. A good physical battle just to maintain possession when they do pin Perth deep. They want to keep them there for as long as they can.
Perth pressing with a front two of Domfay and Sancic, but Bafobisha is able to wriggle away. Domfay still putting the pressure on. Tireless work by the Azuri number 10, but Inglewood are able to play out pretty comfortably with the extra number. Ashida Livings, pass was short, stepping in McDonald, who tries to skin Coel and gets the better of Inglewood's number 5. McDonald tried to put the cross in and actually kick the ground. You can see the big divot on the pitch just behind McDonald now.
I was just about to say, as McDonald strode forward and knocked it around a man that is perhaps not the player you'd expect to break open and create the match-tying goal. And before I got a chance to say it, the less said about that cross, the better.
Bafobisha. Lovely footwork from Anthony Bafobisha, and then the ball with the outside of the boot looking for Sokol. Just a little bit too much heat on that one, and Montgomery can come off his line and gather.
Yeah, perhaps a little too Hollywood there from Bafobisha. He put his hand up in the form of an apology after that pass.
Forward by McDonald. Sheeta Livings will try and body that one out, and instead Jovic goes into the back of him and concedes the free kick.
Yeah, a little petulant after that as well there, Jovic. The Perth players a little frustrated.
Barnett's ball forward. Colwell uses his goalkeeper. Plenty of time for Inglewood to gather that in midfield, though. Perhaps alarmingly so as far as Perth are concerned, and it allows United to get on the front foot once more through Coel. Barrera's got space here, tried to dummy and leave for Riak, but Colwell was alert to the danger, and now Santic has...
Well, if that's not a yellow card, Tommy, I'll eat your hat. I would say mine, but I'm not wearing one.
Well, the card is shown to Bafovich. Had his hands all over Santic there. Santic wants to get on with it pretty quickly. Diving in Sokol. Whitney. Colwell. Perth trying to hold a bit of possession, trying to get something going. Inglewood continuing to press ever so well, though. Kept in over on that far side. The cross comes in. Domfay was leaping for it. Santic did well to win the header. Clearance from Riak. Will break for McDonald. And then Petkov with a rugby tackle of sorts on Calvin Whitney to give away the free kick, and McDonald tries to get on with it, but instead Perth will make another change, and it'll be Gustavo Cataccioni, the Brazilian striker. And that should mean Alex Siller will revert to full back, position to which Nick McDonald has vacated. And Cataccioni will go and stand up front next to Michael Domfay. Front two for the remainder of this second half, you'd think.
Number 6, Nick McDonald, being replaced by number 20, Gustavo Cataccioni.
Or maybe one last roll of the dice here for Perth. Big Gustavo coming on to hopefully make an impact.
Cataccioni, who of course scored the winner in the grand final when these two teams met back in 2016, a 1-0 win for Perth that day.
Crazy to feel that 2016 was 5 years ago now, isn't it, Tommy?
Yeah, a long time ago, and yet 5 years later, these two teams are competing in a pre-season final. It just shows how consistent they have been at the back end of the last decade and the start of this one.
Good early
And here's
contribution
Cataccioni
from
looking to make
Cataccioni.
an impact early.
Throwing himself around, winning a throw. That's what you want from your substitute. You just can't make it easy for Inglewood.
Cataccioni also scoring that memorable overhead kick at Frank Drago reserve against Bayswater last season. They'll be hoping for a bit of magic of a similar sort. And you can see on your picture at the moment plenty of supporters coming down on a Sunday night to watch this night series final. Dalmatinac Park, bar and canteen open.
Another one of those set pieces here that Perth really need to try and capitalise on. Funnily enough, it feels like they've had a bit more of the play around their area with 10 men.
Inglewood perhaps subconsciously wanting to drop back a little deeper. Make no mistake, though, they are still dangerous on the counter-attack, but they've got a set piece to defend here. Everybody forward bar Kieran Colwell and Christian Santic, who's the taker of this ball. Santic's ball, and it goes straight into the wall. And now Santic and Kuel were in a foot race, but Perth midfielder wins that battle.
Well, he'll be disappointed with that Santic. He'll know that the chances will be few and far between, and they may be the best option they've got, and you've really just got to beat the wall there. Get it in the mixer, give your forwards a chance to get on the end of it.
Radinovic. That's an interesting looking pass here for Domfay, who wriggles away from Suarez. Michael Domfay, and it was good recovering defence from Suarez, who looked to have been twisted and turned inside out, only for the ball to ricochet off the defender and land in the grateful arms of Don.
Yeah, very easy to lose your bearings there and lose your balance, but the Inglewood defender performing admirably. after the twist and turn from Michael Domfay.
Just a little reminder that Perth aren't giving up the ghost just yet, but now they've got some defending to do as Barrera wins the free kick, either from Whitney or Santich, whichever of the two challenges that was. Take your pick. Barnett's ball forward into the feet of Riak. Out wide here is Barrera, who clips the ball in and just slices that one off the outside of the boot and behind the goal.
Yeah, disappointing ball in after the good bit of link-up play from Riak and Petkov.
Another change for Inglewood coming up here. The experienced Scott Blackmore is about to enter the fray, and he'll replace Tiak Kuel, who's done a power of work in the centre of Inglewood's midfield tonight.
Leading the field of play, number 5, Tiak Kuel. To be replaced by number 4, Scott Blackmore.
One of the outstanding performers on the pitch tonight, Kuel. That axis in midfield with Bafobasher has really stood out. And Blackmore will just take his place in front of that defence, you'd think. And here he is, winning that header.
There you go, just what he's brought on to do.
That's one thing he does provide, plenty of height. Now Inglewood will try and play the combinations in this left-hand side.
Perhaps a response to those tiring legs, I think, of Inglewood was probably as much a reason as any that they're starting to get pinned back. Even though he might not be the paciest customer, just the fresh legs of Blackmore, though he's bypassed there.
And something still definitely worth considering, given that we are in pre-season, of course, as Domfay wriggles away into the area. Suarez, and then Domfay goes down again, and Perth players are appealing for a penalty. And Julian Serra, I think, has given a free kick the other way, and he's shown a yellow card to Michael Domfay for what I can only assume to be simulation.
He's given it for a dive, Tommy, but it's hard to see from here. It certainly looked like there was contact.
Referee just has his hand to his ear at the moment, and the decision stands, so it will be an Inglewood free kick.
Oh, I think it's harsh. I mean, the referee's got a better view than I do, but
meanwhile, Barrera's ball through here for Petkov, who slides across goal. Touch was off Colwell, who appeals with his team to get back and concentrate on defence.
Sorry, as I was saying just before, Inglewood got on that counter. I just feel like it's harsh when it feels like there's contact and it's a challenge. Maybe it's not a penalty, but yellow card for a dive. It's got to be clear, and maybe it was. As I mentioned, he's got a better view than I do, the referee.
Yeah, very hard to see from here. The referee far better placed to make a decision on that one than any of us. Up on the hill as corner comes in. Montgomery's come off his line. Strong take from the goalkeeper now.
Oh, great
Montgomery
goalkeeping.
will release that one early, and unfortunately, I think the ball will beat Domfay out of play, and it does.
Yeah, so close there. A big claim from Ryan, and a long ball into the right kind of area, but just a fraction the wrong side of the line.
Petkov. Riak running ahead of him. Towed back by Radinovic. Montgomery's first touch was cool, calm, and collected back to his centre half, and then Radinovic will win the throw off Petkov.
Yeah, all you could hear there over the noise in the crowd was the shouts of Scotty Blackmore of hold Robbie, hold, and well done Robbie. Obviously that leadership in these final moments will be big as well.
Plenty of noise from the crowd over on that left-hand side as well. Great atmosphere down here tonight. A week out from the season proper. And if the intensity of this one's anything to go by, then we'll be in for a thrilling edition of the NPLWA in 2021. For the time being, it's pre-season final night. It's Inglewood 1, Perth 0. Robert Petkov's 32nd minute goal, the difference. Perth down to 10 men after the red card to Cameron Teese. But they're far from out of this one yet as Cataccioni tries to latch onto it, but flags up. He went a little early.
I was looking at him as he made the run, and it was very close. And there's that bit of magic that they brought him on for. The ability to take it down on the chest, swivel, turn, and hit it out of the air. Unfortunately, well, probably fortunately, it did sail over the bar as the linesman's flag went up in the end.
Colwell's header. Sancic and Ashida Livings competing. Domfay trying to break away. Looks up. He's only really got Cataccioni in the box in support. Crosses charge down. First time ball whipped in from Sancic. It's a beauty into the feet of Cataccioni in the end, but Inglewood can clear the danger, and Sokol will look to just try and hold on to the ball, and Inglewood have been pretty effective at doing that tonight. Although, just as I say that, it's a wonderful piece of skill from Whitney to wriggle away, who tries to step over once again, but Barrera's got his measure on this occasion. Petkov, Bufobisha, Riak, and now Petkov ahead of him. He goes left to Riak, return pass looking for Petkov, and Perth crowd him out. Del Borello. Sliding in there. Radinovic. Great challenge because it's worked out pretty well, and now Cataccioni will try and make something happen. He wriggles away from his marker pretty easily. Gustavo Cataccioni into the area. Still fighting is the Brazilian. Barnett is standing him up for the time being. Gustavo Cataccioni fighting really hard, and in the end was just crowded out.
Well, he certainly can't be any arguments for a Cataccioni dive. He was doing everything he could there to stay on his feet. Just staying the right side of the referee's whistle there, the defender.
Game becoming really stretched now as Petkov wriggles away from 2 or 3 challenges. Robert Petkov tried unselfishly to find Riak. It may yet fall to him. Riak. Now Perth defenders are back. Barrera. Driving through. Jason Barrera still going. And Alex Seller was covering across from full back.
Well, how good is that from Robert Petkov? He's twisted and turned around 3 or 4 players. He may have been a little fortunate with the goal that it fell to him like it did.
If anything, he was still unselfish, and once again he's pulling back. Perth hands are up for offside. Nothing doing. Perth have just got to weather this storm now. Inglewood trying to put the game to bed here. Sokol trying to link up with Del Borello, sliding in Radinovic. Del Borello stayed on his feet. Cross to the back post for Riak, who had to stretch his neck muscles to try and get that back in, and then players sliding in everywhere. Sokol emerges with the ball. Ball across for Riak.
Good battle from Sokol and the fullback there, Colwell.
Spaces emerging here now. Petkov, Barrera striking, and it floats just wide of Montgomery's post. I think Montgomery will claim that he had that one covered in any case.
A bit more action here on the Perth substitutes bench.
It'll be Sam Flores who comes on. And he'll replace Alex Jovic. And Sam Flores.
Substitution, leaving the field of play, number 7, Alexander Jovic.
A real opportunity for the youngster to make his mark here.
Well, running out of time now if they want to find an equaliser, Perth. And there's the substitute, Blackmore winning a header.
Still Robert Petkov's goal separates the sides. Inglewood looking to counter and land the killer blow. Sokol winning the free kick.
That is just what the doctor ordered for Inglewood United. You pick up the ball there, not a lot of players ahead of him. And just drawing the contact, taking the foul, soaking up a bit of time, keeping possession, just doing everything right at the moment, United.
Here's Flores looking to try and make something happen. Domfe tried to return it to him. In the end, did well to get the ball back from Riak, who's back defending well. Flores into the area, tries to jink his way through. And in the end, it was Ashida Livings who stuck a toe out and cleared it away. But Perth will come back.
This is what they need, Perth. A good spell of pressure. Try and keep United pinned deep.
Time ticking down. Santic's ball in. Cataccioni. Back post was Whitney. And he just leant back on the effort.
Well, that's what they need, as I was saying. Keep the ball in that final third. Get it wide. Get it to your creative players like Santic. He's put a couple of good balls in now in this second half. And that one fell for his midfield partner, the newly signed midfield partner from the NPL Victoria. As you mentioned, you described it perfectly, Tommy. Just leant back, skied it way over the bar. Disappointing for Perth, but they are creating chances.
Sokol. Delbarello. And Blackmore. No one charging him down just yet. Pass is threaded through. And sliding it wide of the post there was Sokol.
Well, from where we're sitting, it looked the goal. Another chance for Sokol. He's had a couple to bury this game. Will he live to rue those misses?
Goodness me, I was waiting for the net to bulge there.
That just didn't happen.
Hence the hesitation. And still Perth survive. Barrera clipped over for Petkov, who's offside. Perth stepped up in the nick of time, and they're looking to get things moving quickly. Game becoming really stretched now.
This does not suit Inglewood, even though they've had probably the better share of the chances. They don't want this helter-skelter action. They'd rather this game be a little more controlled, I'm sure.
DeLeo. Suarez, who's really assured at the heart of Inglewood's defence tonight. Bafobisha. Ball forward. Reacts all on his own in the middle here. Silla's got him covered now, but if Inglewood could have found the ball there, Riak was on and in a yard of space on his own. Now this switch of the play is a good one here from Whitney to find Santic. He's got two ahead of him. One of them's Domfe. The other is Cataccioni, who was offside. Late flag from Josh Manella, but it went up eventually as Cataccioni touched the ball. Just those fine margins, but in any case, it looked as though Inglewood had dealt with the situation fairly well.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered at the end of the day as the flag was up, but just a bit of quality there from Perth throughout the pitch. As you mentioned, Calvin Whitney just sidestepping through and a wonderful crossfield ball, and lovely bit of creativity with the outside of the boot from Santic. So close to getting Cataccioni on the end of it.
Yeah, a little glimpse of things to come.
It just feels like it's all there, doesn't it? It's just not quite coming together tonight. Obviously, the season is a long and hard one. There'll be plenty of time for them to put this right. Still time for them to put it right tonight.
They are running out of it, though.
Blackmore again. He's won a few of those.
DeLeo. Flores. Blackmore picks his pocket.
Certainly had an impact.
And then
he?
feeds Barrera. Reacts open here on this left-hand side. AJ Riak will strike at goal. And it goes all the way through and out for a goal kick. Didn't quite catch that as he'd like. Inglewood's number 7.
He caught it reasonably flush, just wrapped his foot around it a little too much.
Montgomery does well to find Sancic's feet. Perth look to try and get something moving through midfield, but once again the press is good from Inglewood. Blackmore on this occasion, the highest player forward. Perth do really well. Domfay battles through 2 or 3 Inglewood defenders, and in the end Barnett just stands tall and pokes it away. Petkov, Blackmore, first time ball is a good one. It's perfectly into the path of Riak, who's through on goal, and sliding in with a vital intervention was Colwell to keep things alive as we step into 3 minutes of second half injury time. So 3 minutes left for Inglewood to hold out. 3 minutes left for Perth to try and find an equaliser and force penalties. And Inglewood have got a corner to which they are in no rush to take.
Amazed how many players they're sending forward for this corner. They do have 2-on-1 on Domfay on the halfway line, but geez, I'd want to have 3 or 4 on him.
Petkov comes short.
They're just going to try and keep it in the corner.
Yeah, Petkov comes short for the corner, perhaps unsurprisingly. They do still have the extra man, remember. Leaping for that one's Riak. Where's this going to break? It's going to break to Blackmore, who scores for the first time in 2 years, and Inglewood wrap it up.
Oh, we'd love to have that monkey off the back. I said he'd had an impact so far. It was winning headers in midfield and making tackles, and now it's fallen for him on the edge of the 6-yard box. He couldn't have asked for a better way to start this season. Wrapping up the Night Series Cup final, Scott Blackmore for Inglewood United. Inglewood United goal scored by number 4, Scott Blackmore. Score now, Inglewood United 2, Perth Club.
Blackmore's first goal since a last-minute chip in a 4-3 win over Floreat back in 2019. And it puts the icing on what has been an impressive performance for United so far for tonight. And they're coming forward for more here as Petkov feeds Sokol, who rattles it off the post and into the side netting, but it took a touch on the way through, and Inglewood will have a corner, but it matters little now. Game is just about over and done with, Sean, and it's pretty hard to suggest anything other than Inglewood have fully deserved this on the night.
Oh, completely. Even before the red card, they were the better side. They've really turned up to perform on the big stage, and now it's just a question of how they push on and bring this form into the season, but they've been magnificent all throughout this night series, and certainly magnificent throughout these 90 minutes in the final.
Inglewood haven't kept a clean sheet against Perth in the NPL WA since round 21 2016 when they beat Perth 2-1 at Dorrien Gardens. And that clean sheet tonight will likely ensure that they're going to register a famous victory here and gain some sort of revenge for that top 4 cup final defeat back in late 2019 as the final stages of this game play out. Befobisher will just look up and no doubt try and take this towards the corner now. Silla, Barnett, referee looks at his watch, still we play for a little bit longer. Alex Dunn. Suarez, Barrera, Riak, Befobisher. Not in any rush to do anything meaningful with the possession as Julian Serra looks at his watch and blows his whistle, and Inglewood's 16-year trophy drought is over. A night series win over Perth Soccer Club by 2-0 here at Dalmatinac Park. Goals scored, one in each half by Robert Petkov, and then late on by substitute Scott Blackmore. And what a night this is here
for United, who the bench and the coaching staff charge onto the pitch for. And as we said before, Sean, a fully deserving win, that one for Inglewood, who were very impressive on the night.
Oh, absolutely. No argument who the better side was tonight. They harassed and harried Perth in midfield, and back four was as solid a back four as I've seen in the NPL, and they've really put a marker down here, Inglewood, to say they're going to be a team battling towards the top end of the table this season. We'll see how it plays out, but certainly a fully deserved victory.
Sean's going down to assist with the trophy presentation down below, so it'll be me keeping you occupied for the next 5 minutes or so as the Football West banner comes out and the NPL WA Night Series trophy sits pretty much on the halfway line. Both sets of players shaking hands. Inglewood still embracing as well in a group. And what a result this is for United in terms of that winning momentum that they're looking to continue with. And in terms of reward for a great first few years at the club that Andreas Oliveira has had. A very impressive first season in charge as he guided the team to a second place finish in the league and then the top four cup final, to which they lost in heartbreaking fashion. Last season was a difficult one for all teams due to the effects of COVID-19, and Oliveira and his coaching staff and club opted to play a few of the youngsters, build some depth ahead of the 2021 campaign. And they look like a very strong unit going into this year, if anything is to go by. They'll face off next weekend against Armidale on the road in their first game of the season before a rematch with Perth at Dorrien Gardens.
Start by putting your hands together for the two sides, the match officials and Coburn Soccer Club, Dalmatinac Park, for putting on a wonderful final tonight.
The Glory, meanwhile, Perth Soccer Club, meanwhile, host the Glory and then Inglewood, and we'll cross down to Sean Fry with the trophy presentations now.
We will start by presenting the referees with their medals, and I'll invite Ryan Lenigan to come forward and do that now. Starting with the referee, Julian Serra. Assistant referee, Josh Manella. Assistant referee, Matthew Southern. And fourth official, Michael Jasinski. Ryan will now present the medals to the runners-up, Perth Soccer Club. Starting with number 1, Ryan Montgomery. Number 2, Alex Silla. Number 3, Jordan DeLeo. Number 17, Lachlan Bird. Number 6, Nick McDonald. Number 7, Alexander Jovic. Number 9, Cameron Teese. Number 10, Michael Domfay. Number 11, Yaqub Mustafa. Number 12, Sam Flores.
Number 13, Calvin Whitney. Number 14, Daniel McKenzie. Number 18, Will Gordon. Number 16, Kieran Colwell. Number 19, Bojan Radinovic. Number 20, Gustavo Kudachoni. Number 22, Christian Santich. And number 23, Adrian Sanagra. We now welcome Football West Chairman Sharif Andraus to present the 2021 Men's NPLWA Night Series winners, Inglewood United, with their medals. Starting with number 2, Alex Ishida Livings. Number 3, Giovanni Suarez. Number 4, Scott Blackmore. Number 5, Tia Kuel. Number 6, Adam Falcone. Number 7, Ajak Riak. Number 8, Jason Barrera. Number 9, Robert Petkov. Number 12, Roberto Del Borello. Number 13, Brody Langen. Number 14, Steve Sokol. Number 17, Mark Barnett. Number 18, Andres Theodosiadis. Number 19, Will Nicholson. Number 22, Josiah Godfrey. Number 10, Anthony Bapabusha. Number 20, Adrian Mano. And tonight's captain, number 1, Alex Dunn. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the 2021 Men's NPLWA Night Series champions, Inglewood United. And I'm in the bit like I give a little speed to a good white shark on shark with